is out of the way. Let us begin with our opening intention. May I come to understand that blessings are everywhere, that my attitude will affect outcomes, that challenges are often gifts in disguise. May I come to trust that most things can get better with time, that my instincts and gut feelings have value, and that a positive attitude makes things go smoother. May I come to see that I have many skills and talents I can use, that I am a positive influence on many people, that there are those around me who wish me well. May I come to value that today is a blessing to be enjoyed, that each person is unique and important, and that each moment of my life has meaning. Our discussion topic today is a very simple statement, and it is, I'm going to read it exactly as it's written here because I think it's cute. It says, the importance of ritual, ... and go. So what I took from this is an invitation to discuss whether or not ritual is important. Why do we have them? What do they bring to us? Are they important? I think that's really the question. Are rituals important?
They're comforting, right?
They're comforting.
Mm-hmm.
I use them as a reminder. You can kind of get lost in your day to day, and then say like today's like a ritual, right? It's every week where we do the open intention. I don't know. It's just a nice refresher, a reminder, just like keep on with this.
But it's only if you consciously think about it, right?
What do you mean?
So the problem that I find with ritual is
I can't really hear you, Jill.
The problem is that you don't consider actively why you're participating in the ritual, you can lose the true meaning of the ritual. And that's the problem with a lot of the things that we do every day. If you don't stop and question, why am I doing this? You may forget the reason why you originally intended to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's a tough concept because as humans, we do like our grooves. We like doing things one way.
So are you talking about
habit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Habit versus ritual. And what is the difference?
Yes.
What is the difference between a habit and ritual? So perhaps the consciousness, your awareness of what you're trying to evoke.
I think really that is you have to make sure if is this a ritual? Does it serve me the way that it's meant to serve me? And you have to ask that question, or else it's just habit.
So in the morning you get up and you get dressed and you have your pee and then you make a pot of coffee and then you get dressed and you go downstairs and you get your first cup and whatever. Maybe that's your habit.
Sure, routine.
Is it a ritual?
Your ritual doesn't necessarily have to be daily.
Oh, interesting.
No.
Like you're thinking of a daily ritual of.
And
Well,
that's
that
a
example.
routine.
That example.
A different R word, routine. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's not necessarily that, Like for example, every time I see 12:34 on the clock,
My favorite time.
my favorite time.
Is it your favorite time?
Yeah.
It's my favorite time.
Every time I get it, 12:34, 12:34.
My favorite time part.
Day and night. Day and night I always said. And so I have made it that means that everything is happening exactly how it's supposed to, and I'm perfectly where I am right here, right now.
Yeah.
Everything happened perfectly that day. I am exactly on time. I am everything. So my ritual is to take a moment and be like, oh, is that a ritual? I don't know. Yeah, that's a ritual for sure. Every time I stop and think that.
When you recognize that it's 12:34.
Yes, but that's not daily.
Right. It's
No.
only when it catches your attention.
When I notice the 12:34, my response is, "Woo! It's my favorite time!" And I literally do that every time I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I say, "Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4!" and I clap, and I have like a little.
No matter what she's doing.
It's true.
Even when she's
It's true,
driving.
because it's like my favorite. It is my favorite time, and it brings a spark of joy to me. That's how I respond to that, and so my ritual is to be the joy.
Yes. Okay. Do you want the definition?
Of
Yeah.
Ritual.
Sure, if you want to define it.
Well, no, I'm not defining it, the dictionary.
Let's hear it.
A religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order.
Ooh, order.
So do we accept that?
Can you repeat it?
A religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. That's using it as a noun. If you use it as an adjective, it says relating to or done as a religious or solemn rite.
So do we accept that definition?
I don't.
Like we are not.
It sounds very like someone's making you do it.
Sounds like a Catholic church to me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a religious thing.
Or solemn. Order, but it can be prescribed order by you. Yes, but the part I have trouble with
It
is
says
solemn.
religious in both definitions. It says
just
religious.
That's just their definition.
Yes, that's why I'm asking, do
looking
we
for
accept
different
this
dictionaries
definition?
that said the same.
Oh, I think of it as self.
Not as religious.
Not, I don't think of it as, I think of it as self.
Certainly there are religious rituals,
Yes.
Oh yeah, tons.
but
Can we not make anything we do a ritual?
I think that's what Jill was driving towards.
If I brush my teeth in a certain prescribed order or do my morning salutations in a prescribed order, it's a ritual.
Yes.
Is it about intention? Is ritual about
I think
intention?
that's what Jill was getting
Yeah.
to, right?
Earlier, is giving it intention.
Giving it intention.
And if we think back to our discussion of the laws and Barb's favorite thing, if we're approaching each day with an attitude of gratitude, everything should be a ritual. Like from that moment of, oh, I'm awake now, I'm going pee now because my prostate is fine and I'm grateful for that. I'm going to make coffee because I have coffee that I love and I'm grateful for that, right? Like, what's that?
No
By the
one
way,
here.
no one at this table
Has a prostate.
That doesn't mean that we can't be grateful that prostates were.
Anyway.
We're being all inclusive here, Maria.
Oh, okay.
To all of humankind.
I got
Some
That's
of them
right.
have prostates.
That's right.
Gotcha.
I don't know
Let's
a
just-
lot of women who have trouble going pee. I know more women who have trouble stopping to pee.
Yes.
And right? And so
But you have to be grateful for that.
So glad.
I've been stopped up and trust me, I'm grateful that I leak.
welcome to the Hummingbird Assembly.
Welcome to the Hummingbird Assembly. Where nothing is taboo.
Regardless, it's a ritual of letting go.
there
Absolutely.
you go. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Doesn't serve me any longer.
When I was looking up and preparing a little bit for this conversation, what I was reading about the importance of rituals does not discuss at all the religious or solemn aspect. What I was reading, and perhaps it's because it was more secular reading, talks about athletes and their rituals as they approach a game. One athlete would have to hit the field at exactly 5:17 to do 117 reps, and those 117 reps needed to finish at 6:17, and everything was on the 17. Another athlete has to wear the same shorts. Another athlete doesn't shave.
And some of them eat the same food on the day of
Yeah.
an event
They have a
at
sports
prescribed
calendar.
times.
And the other things that I was reading too were about if you're job hunting, you probably have a ritual as you're preparing for your interview, right? Like maybe you spend the time leading up to the interview talking yourself up. Maybe you purposefully choose clothes that make you feel powerful and attractive. Perhaps you are reviewing, the company's policies and procedures and understanding how you would fit in. Like all of that, wouldn't that be ritual?
Mhm. It is.
You look like you're not sure about that.
I guess yeah, I would agree. I was thinking ritual more tying in with routines, but it's not.
Right.
Because if you're job searching, well, it's for a specified period of time, hopefully, right? You get
Hopefully.
past it, but so while you're in that mode, you're following those steps.
And then I started wondering if, particularly given the definitions that you just read for us, if when we make everyday actions rituals, are we taking away the impact of a ritual?
I think it depends on the ritual. I mean, so for instance, when you decide that you want to live with someone forever, there's a ritual leading up to that as well, but that's not one that we do all the time, and that's not one, hopefully, that we don't take for granted.
Sorry, hopefully it's not one that we
Take for granted,
Ah.
right? So when somebody proposes to you, whatever that proposal is a ritual in itself. When somebody says to you, look, I want to be with you for the rest of my life, that's a ritual, right? You're making a pact between the two of you. And even though it's just that one instance and that happened, that's been so prepared for on that guy's side and your side to say yes or no. But it's a ritual. So I would hope that those rituals never lose significance. But it depends on what it is, how trivial it becomes.
But if we make everything a ritual, does the idea of ritual become less special?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that actually.
Let's talk about it.
I think, getting down on one knee is a ritual.
Yeah.
Amongst all of us or society, because that's what it's put out there, like you get down on one knee. That to me would be the ritual. That would be the only part that I find the ritual.
You can make rituals. This is really different, but I read once about a professor trying to lose weight who made a ritual of having a piece of chocolate every week. He was losing weight, and he had a whole ritual surrounding his piece of chocolate, and he'd do all these things to prepare,
I
and
think I read that. Like
put that
candles
chocolate on a fancy plate and had it by his chair, and he had a drink.
Yeah.
No fork and knife. He used his fingers, but the whole he set the stage for. It was a ritual for him to have that decadence once a week.
I think that's actually a good description in my mind and my opinion of the difference between ritual and habit. Habit is something we just do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get up in the morning, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I go pee. That's habit because you just do it. Ritual is something you put thought, like what you said, you put thought and intention into a ritual. Like in my mind, that's how I'm separating ritual and intention.
Mm.
And if you want to turn a habit into a ritual, then it's not a habit anymore. It's not something you're just doing with no thought.
Does it become more special?
It becomes more special,
Yeah.
and more like like Jill said, you put more intention into it, more thought into it.
I think the outcome is not as clear with rituals as it is with habits. So like say with that person with the chocolate, like their goal, like they rewarding themselves or they're hoping they're losing weight, but it's not gonna be guaranteed they're gonna do that. Or as a habit, like I'm gonna brush my teeth. Like, yeah, I'm gonna brush my teeth.
You don't really even think about it though.
Yeah,
you just do it.
Yeah, but with rituals, say from the religious capacity, like they're praying and they have ideas of what they're trying to achieve with their prayer, whether it be, help from the universe or their God, or it's just kind of putting it out there, I guess. I that's the way I've sort of been hearing from the examples and stuff. It's just that you're hoping, you set an intent and you're hoping for a certain result, but you're not sure what's going to happen with it as part of that ritual. So like when people go and they light a candle at a prayer, like they're hoping they're sending their love to that person, or like they want to become fertile, or like, I don't know. That's just sort of what I'm
I
kind of
think it goes
hearing.
back to the definition of order.
Of-
Or I think order is a
Order.
like order of, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, I'm gonna pee, then I'm gonna floss, then I'm gonna brush my teeth, then I'm gonna wash my face. I am not gonna do any of those things. Like, I'm not gonna brush my teeth before I floss. That's stupid. I'm not gonna, wash my face before I brush my teeth. I'm gonna get toothpaste all over my face. It's just, I don't know. Order is one of the things, but then that's just a morning routine. If you think about it in the sports sense, it's a specific order for, I don't know, that thing. It's the same with, okay, I'm gonna light my candle, and then I'm gonna sit here, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that. And that's the ritual before my prayer can be heard. Or
I really think it's intention. The more I'm listening,
Yeah.
it's intention. It's interesting because let's go back to brushing teeth. I just think this is such a perfect example. We just do it because we do it.
Mm.
We're told we're supposed to do it.
Yeah, that's why we do it.
It's not
It's
like
not
that.
because we do it. It's because
Well,
we're
just
told we
because
have.
we're supposed to do it. You're told.
Don't
Brush your
want to
teeth twice
deal
a
with the
day.
freezing in your mouth.
Exactly. However, I'm going to throw something in there. I do what's called oil pulling. It's an Ayurvedic thought or process or ritual, whatever you want to call it. When I oil pull, it is not a habit. I can tell you, it's a ritual. It's very, very different. I'm doing it for a very different reason than brushing my teeth because I don't want freezing in my mouth. It's a deeper. There's a deeper meaning, and I'm trying to right now as I separate them. I think, okay, brushing teeth, that's a habit. Oil pulling, that's my little ritual. Every afternoon at 3:00, 20 minutes of coconut oil pulling.
20 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Every day.
What do you do?
Crazy.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
You take a tablespoon of oil. You let
Of
it melt in
coconut
your
oil,
mouth,
right?
And you basically rinse your mouth with it.
You just go.
Like mouthwash. You pull it through your teeth. It's called oil pulling.
And for how long do you do this?
When I started at like a couple of minutes because holy cow, it's hard on the muscles.
It
jaw
is.
muscles. But I've worked up to between 15 and 20
And I
minutes.
read somewhere that you can't swallow it and then you get
spit it
sick.
out after.
And I accidentally swallowed it and then I got sick because who's the placebo? Thoughts are things, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to spit it
That's
out.
like that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
What is the
Well, the idea behind it all, we don't want to get into this too deeply.
It
The
makes
idea
my
behind it,
sinuses
for instance,
drain.
there's a
Oh.
huge
It's detoxifying, isn't it?
strain of thought right now that root canals cause all kinds of health issues.
Yes, they do.
And that's kind of along the same line. You carry a lot of bacteria in your mouth. If you get peritonitis, what's it called? Periodontal disease. That can cause heart problems because you're swallowing that bacteria. So the idea is to completely clean your mouth. And coconut oil or sesame seed oil, they're both antibacterial and antifungal. So that's the idea behind it.
Interesting.
If you study any Ayurvedic, it's a very big thing with Ayurvedic scholars.
Habit.
Oh,
A settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up.
Oh.
So
So maybe with
ritual,
athletes, it might
ritual
be
versus
better
habit.
defined as a habit. Those athletes, because it would be hard for them to get up if they.
But wouldn't that be, it's a ritual for them to put them in the mindset. It's like a meditation almost. for them.
Agreed.
It's like I'm doing this with the mindfulness. I'm preparing myself. I'm doing this. I'm going to achieve this. This is how I achieve it. This is how I get my mind in where I need it to be to achieve my top best. I think that is a ritual. But it's a meditation. It's just not done in the way that we might think about meditation.
But if it's treated differently, like could they give it up? Could they just go the race and be like, I'm not going to do this today, and like not, like sort of
Probably
like,
not. But
addicted.
I think with sports players, a lot of it is almost superstition.
Right.
I don't know if
Yeah,
you've ever
totally.
noticed, Jose Bautista has a thing before a baseball game. Every player gets a different,
Yes.
yeah, and that's definitely ritual.
gets a different one.
Like a different handshake or a different, yeah, it's actually very cool if you watch it. But and I would say that's ritual. But I think it's also tied into superstition. If
It
he doesn't
is.
do that,
Yeah, but
I know.
most
It's like having a steak at 4:02, and the ritual of preparing it and serving it, and some of the players do that,
yeah.
whatever time. No. Anyways, yes.
I would love to go interview them and just see like if it doesn't work out, what does that mean to them when they've
Right.
done it?
He did it wrong.
Yeah,
You missed the step, Jose.
and like how they develop that and just like, oh, I shook everybody's hand differently today and I won. And
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting. to
like,
watch.
how do you come up with? I love to figure that out.
Yeah.
The psychology behind that.
Yeah, and then what happens if you don't do it and you still win?
Yeah.
I think it's just a mindset. I think that's all it is. I think it's a preparation of your mind, a way to clear your mind, a focused intention to do that. And I think that's the ritual, right? It's same with anything that we would treat as a ritual, like writing an exam, for instance. If it's important to you, you're going to spend that time studying up to and all the way to it. And you'll have your own little rituals that you do to get there and achieve the same result. It's very similar to the athletes, and whether I don't think it's a thing about giving it up or not, or whether you're addicted to that. I think it's just a way to focus your mind, give yourself that intention. As magical and superstitious as that may seem, I mean, we do a lot of things that seem magical and superstitious when you step back and look at it and go, really? Like weddings is another big thing. Look at all the weird little things that lead up to it, and what does that really mean? All the little traditions, like something new, something old, something blue, all those things. Does it really mean anything? Does it mean that your marriage is going to be gone and divorce if you don't have your blue thing? Like,
It might.
These are all.
How about the ring on the third finger? Do you know what that's for?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, like another superstition,
It is. It comes actually from Egypt. It has
Yeah,
nothing to do
I
with
know.
Christian
Centuries
values.
old, yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting. Anything you can look at, if you look at it long enough, a lot of it stems from superstition. But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a way to focus our intentions. What do you need from this? What do you want from it? And how do you get there? I think that's really what ritual is for me.
So the key difference between habit, routine, and ritual all seems to come down to intention.
I think so, yes.
Do we accept that?
Yes.
You look like you're not exactly certain. I'm not certain either, but I'm not sure why that is.
I don't know. I just don't. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Fair.
You look at me like, maybe, but you don't know.
Well, you were just making a face, that's all. And I thought you maybe
That's her
needed.
normal Mervat face.
No, it was.
Right.
She can't help what her face
So
looks like
then to
now.
come back to the question,
Resting.
one of the other questions, are rituals important?
If you let them be, they are.
Again, that's a matter of intention.
Yesterday, I delivered my first funeral service, which
A
has
ritual,
like end of life rituals at the front of my mind. Are rituals important?
To some people, they're very important, and to other people, they're not at all important. So I think it's an individual thing.
If you give it importance, it is.
Is it though? I don't know.
Hmm.
Like if there's some collective oneness, which we have been discussing at length, and the majority of the oneness thinks they are important, don't we all vibrate that way?
I think you brought up Egypt. It made me think of their death process.
The what? Sorry?
In Egypt, ancient Egypt, they had a very specific way of handling everything.
Yeah.
And that sometimes changed over the dynasties, like a little bit, depending on what they believed in. But that was sort of like, I don't know for a fact, I'm not a historian or anything, that if anybody could do this, like the embalming process, removing the organs and their different things and the hieroglyphs and stuff like that. But I don't know what the poor would have done or anything, but I thought that was a collective creation of the same sort of ritual.
Well, their ritual was that so that you would live forever in the underworld. Right?
Yeah, the weighing of the heart, like against the feather, like it's so much your judgment. And yeah, I don't know, I just found it really beautiful and fascinating when you see it all on the wall, like all the different stages and stuff. And like they put a lot of time into that process.
But doesn't every culture?
Yes.
But here's the thing.
Particularly around end of life, right?
Yeah.
End of life is a good one, because you say, like yesterday you delivered a service for an end of life ceremony. But there are people who choose not to go through that process. They're very firm that they don't want any big hoopla.
Yep.
They don't want a party. They don't want a religious ceremony because that's not their thing. And they don't want to be buried and put in the ground, right? They may want to just have a very quiet cremation and it's done. And you're not to invite a room full of people to come and gather and talk about me or my life or whatever. So for some people that's there.
But who is the ritual for?
The living.
For the living, definitely.
And the woman who we were remembering yesterday was that person you were describing.
Mhm. So against her wishes?
Yes.
Her family went ahead?
Yes.
Oh,
And it wasn't that she didn't want to be celebrated. It was that she thought it was expensive and it was silly. It was an impractical thing. So what the family did was they kept the costs very low, but they needed the ritual for them.
fair enough.
They needed an opportunity to say goodbye.
Mhm.
And she was cremated and her remains are with the family and whatever will happen with them. But it wasn't some big elaborate, like some funerals are very elaborate and some are very not.
Right.
But the ritual, I think whether or not you have that service, the family is still going through something.
Definitely.
Am I at liberty to share? Like when your aunt passed and your family, you didn't have a service, but you still had your ritual,
We did.
right?
So here's the funniest ritual ever, perhaps, on someone's passing. My aunt was like adamant about nothing happening. She was cremated. That was it. Her life was over, and we were all like,
But
Yeah.
but
We need something.
we have to acknowledge this passage. We have a right to, you know. So we went and played bingo in her honor.
I love it. I love it.
When she came, she was lived in California, and when she came up, she was my dad's sister, but my mom's best friend. So very close ties. And when she came up, that's all my mom and Aunt Shirley did was they would go and play bingo. So, you know, my dad was really struggling with it. He's the last remaining sibling. Both of his sisters have passed. Yeah, exactly. Plus, he's also.
No.
We're done?
No, somebody's just logged in. It's okay.
You're late.
Sorry, ladies.
Yeah, so he, you know, so my dad was really struggling with it, and he was also, his health wasn't, you know, good enough to actually go down to California. So I came up with the idea, and that, you know, we did that, and you know, we all kind of sat around, like, had a little tear, and dabbed away, and it was great. It was perfect.
I think, again, it depends on the ritual. I mean, if it's, do we all need to get up and brush our teeth and do the oil ritual or something? No, maybe not. But I think for all of us, we all like to have the some kind of joint when we join with our partners, whoever they are. Weddings. We all seem to, it doesn't matter if it's the church or whatever, we all seem to like to have that.
Like the party, you mean? Or the ceremony?
How about the
Celebration?
ritual?
The ceremony.
The ritual.
The actual-
Thanksgiving dinner.
Whether it's
Yeah.
just the two people themselves
Right.
doing some kind of binding in their bedroom, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or in front of people, like everybody seems to like that one and need that one, as well as everybody seems to need a death, like a passing. And I think almost every culture as well has the one where you move from a child to an adult as well. Sweet 16.
Oh, not mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, or sweet 16. I mean, mine, it was a sweet 16 and I was already more of an adult than I should have been, but the point is my parents felt that they needed to do something.
When I turned 21, my dad gave me a key to the house. It was a big deal for him. I was like, I've had a key since I was 8. Why is this a moment?
Yeah.
And he was like, because you are an adult.
It's the ritual.
This is the moment.
Yeah.
You may
And that
now
came
have a
from
key. And I'm like, but
Scotland.
I've had a key for 12 years.
And he's a thought
I
and
don't
you can take
understand.
your-
He's like, it's special, damn it. Have the goddamn key. I'm like, okay, thanks. Happy birthday.
Thanks,
Great.
Dad.
Bye.
Thanks, Dad. I probably weren't living at his house anymore, but you
No.
gave him a key to his house, right?
But I've had one since I was 8. But you're right. Like, the ritual is not so much for the person that you're having the ritual for
Yes.
as it is for, you know, the person who's having that ritual. Does that make sense? Like, the funeral service yesterday was not for that woman.
No.
I mean, we were talking about that woman, but it was for the family to have their closure. The service, the ritual that you and your family went through, which is awesome, was for you to have some marking of the passage. And, you know, that key from my dad was a significant moment of, okay, I'm giving you the keys now. I can't tell you what to do anymore. Have a key to our house.
But as long as you live under my roof, you will follow my rules.
Oh,
Trust
and
me,
he still
I was
thinks
not
so.
under the roof.
Okay, I'm just saying. That was my dad's.
I think it's a dad, not like that's their cliche line. For everything.
So it sounds like we've determined that perhaps rituals are important. Is that where we're landing?
I think they are. I think it's more of a consensus thing.
Consensus among this table or consensus?
Consensus with whoever you're celebrating or celebrating a
particular
marking
rite.
a moment with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so this is it, right? This is, okay, we're married. Woo! I'm off the list now. I'm not a single.
Right.
Or it's the, I'm an adult now in your eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sharing this publicly. I can't tell her what to do. I gave her the keys to the house. You know,
He's still-
I wish that was true.
But I mean, that's the point, right?
We do have to wrap up, but I want to come back to an interesting point that I think you made a moment ago, and perhaps unintentionally, when you were discussing your aunt. And Annie, you were saying that the person has said, we don't do this, like, please don't have this celebration. And Bev, you were saying it's our right. How do those two things come together? How do they coexist?
I think that's a great discussion point because I'd love to like go on with that. Maybe you can write that down and do that another week.
Yes, ma'am. Taking notes.
Because I have some like points on, people who are dying, who have specific intentions of like what they want happening, but there's also the rest of us who want the last remaining moments kind of go a different way for our relationship. So I think it's the same when it comes to funerals too, or what people want in life. So I think there's so much more to discuss on that.
I don't think it's our right to have a ceremony so much as our wish. I guess.
I don't know, but like, you love that person.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
And is it your right to remember them? Because I think that's what you're talking about, right? Not so much your right to go out and play bingo, but more my right to remember you.
Yeah.
My right
And it
to
was,
say you
know,
matter.
and it's also the spelling difference, right? It's R-I-T-E
Yes.
versus R-I-G-H-T.
Right.
I'll just correct my spelling.
Correct.
And I think that in the example that we were just given here, your choice of how to remember her was your choice, and it wasn't something that she probably would have taken issue with,
No.
right? It was so fitting for who she was, right?
It
So
was
perfect.
respectful
It
of
was
that.
very respectful.
Yeah. She probably thoroughly enjoyed that video game.
I'll bet she was.
She did, and I can hear her now
She
going,
was-
of course we didn't win.
She's probably right there.
We were so hoping for the jackpot.
Roughly how much can you win at bingo?
Depends on where the jackpot, how big a, they.
Is it like thousands?
Yes, sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah, my aunt won
Sometimes.
10,000 one time.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. How many people would it
I think I'll go to bingo and try and manifest.
You see,
her.
Mervat doesn't do anything small.
Um,
Did you just say you won $10,000?
No, her aunt.
Or your aunt?
Bro, I would be the one that would win. Very lucky that way.
Well, it could be an outing for us, but anyway.
There you go.
That's
All right.
a whole other discussion.
Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to sign off for this week. Hope you enjoyed our live stream, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.